Don't do the same old fresh flower game when you can give your mom some flowers that last forever. Let's get started. I'm going to show you why I love these chalk pencils so much because I've already made a mistake. Just take a damp paper towel and wipe off the chalk pencil. This works really well on Santorinis. It works well on any stone as long as the paint is dry if you're wiping anything after you've painted. So let's go back to lining out this design. Let's start with the rain boot. Now I know that adding tread to the bottom of this rain boot makes it look a little bit like a hiking boot at this point, but I promise by the end of the design it looks like an adorable rain boot. Now I'm going to use some U shapes to draw out the first set of tulips. So just 3 U's, and then I'm going to kind of flare out the sides and then draw 2 lines coming down the middle to kind of create the flower. Then I'm going to add a center point to our flower and then 3 more U shapes slightly larger above them. Same trick with flaring out the sides and drawing the center lines down the middle. And then I'm also going to line out some leaves, some kind of large leaves, and this is just a start to kind of the greenery that's in this. Next step is to take this Caribbean blue paint, this kind of turquoise color that's my favorite, and to fill in our boot. And so with Santorini stones, they can be a little bit porous, so sometimes that first coat, it kind of soaks in and it's not nice and opaque. I could have used some gesso for a base coat and I just didn't. I don't really have a good reason why I didn't, but it took about 2 coats and a little bit of touching up to get this nice and solid. Now I'm going to start filling in the outer petals of the tulips. So I'm going to start with this magenta color and do 2 of our tulips in this pink, this kind of dark bright pink. Is that even a thing? Can a color be dark and bright at the same time? I don't know. This is how you know I'm just an ordinary person doodling on rocks. Next, we're going to move on and do 2 more tulips in this flamingo coral color, which is really pretty. It's not pink, it's not orange, but it's just a beautiful coral color. I really like it a lot. And as you're adding the color, you can kind of use the paintbrush to add to the flare of the way the tulips arch out on the top of those U shapes. The brush has kind of a nice angle to do that with. So now we're going to finish the bottom row by adding a yellow tulip in the middle. And then I'm going to finish off that last tulip in the same turquoise color that the rain boot is to kind of tie the design all together. Now I'm going to come back and do a second coat on all of the flowers to make sure the color is nice and bright and solid. The next thing I'll do after this is to fill in those center petals in the tulips, and I wanted to keep the colors in the same family as this group of colors. So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of white paint to each of our colors to lighten it up and then fill in those center petals. What I noticed on the first coat of these center petals is that I didn't lighten the colors up quite as much as I wanted to. So before I come back for the second coat, I'm going to add a little bit more white paint so that it lightens up the center petal a little bit more for some contrast. Next, I'm going to take this spring green paint and start outlining and filling in the leaves that I had originally lined out. And I don't end up following my lines quite exactly, which is okay, because as I said before, this is just kind of the start of the greenery. I'm going to come back next with a darker green paint and draw some additional leaves in with a contrasting green color. So now I'm going to take a slightly darker green color and just start filling in darker leaves within our flowers. And after I started doing this, I realized it might have been easier to line out the leaves and paint them before I did the tulips. You could kind of do it either way. I'm just basically filling in the design. I don't want much white space in the area behind the tulips. So I'm going to take this dark green and fill in some additional leaves just so it looks like a nice full bouquet. And again, some second coats with the 2 green paints just to make sure the leaves are nice and filled in, that all of the lines around the flowers are nice and clean. Now I'm going to shift gears a little bit and take this elephant gray and start working on the rain boot tread that we had drawn on there earlier in the design. Here it is, starting to look like a hiking boot again, but I promise we're going to add some more color and it's going to be really cute. Now I'm going to take this Velvet Crush purple paint, it's a really pretty color of purple, and fill in a stripe along the top of the rain boot and then again down along the tread, the gray tread that we just painted in. Now I'm going to take this super sweet lavender color and add some polka dots to our rain boot. I told you it was going to get cute. Now I'm going to take this Sakura Pigma fine line paint pen and outline the entire design. I really love this pen for this kind of fine line detail because I can hold it like a pen or a pencil, and the tip of it is sort of like a paintbrush where it moves like a brush and you can bend it. So you can use just the very tip of it to get a very fine line, or you can put more pressure on it to get a thicker line. It's a really great pen. There's a link in the description if you would like to find some for yourself. As we get a little further into this design, you're going to see that I chose not to put any writing on this design, and I did that for a couple of reasons. I think this is perfect for Mother's Day, but it's also really cute for anything spring. Whether that's someone's birthday or just a gift in general or something you hide in the community. You could absolutely add a quote or a name to this, anything that makes it perfect for you. So I'm a big nerd because this part of the design is what made this rock so much fun for me. So I'm just taking some white paint and adding 2 simple lines to the rain boot that give it that illusion of shine. And I don't know why, but I just love what it did to the design. It makes that boot so cute. So don't be surprised if you see more rain boots coming in the future. Now I'm going to take some of this extreme hologram glitter paint and add it to the center petals of each of the tulips to give some little extra sparkle, because that's what we do around here. And then also I'm taking a disposable eyeliner brush and just adding some kind of flourishes to the leaves. So kind of a center line down the middle and then some lines coming out like you would see in a leaf. And then I also decided to add some swirls of this glitter. You can barely see it, which is kind of the cool part of the design. You can see it here a little bit, but it's something where the light catches it once it's resined. And here's an example of the light catching that glitter after it's been resined. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for stopping by to watch, and I will see you next time.